Hello again, YouTubers. Welcome back to the Board Game Captain. I'm the Board Game Captain.
And I'm Lynn.
And today we have a bit of news. We're going to share with you everything we know about this situation, and then we're going to speculate a little. So there's some trouble going on over at Mayfair Games. Now, if you're not too familiar, Mayfair Games is one of the older and larger game companies around here in the States. They've been around all the way back since 1981, and they publish quite a few different board games. They're very famous for for many years, having had the rights to Settlers of Kaptain in the United States. They also publish Caverna and Lords of Vegas, as well as many other Euro-style games, and they've made a name for themselves doing a lot of the train games and the Euro-style games. And it seems that there's some real problems going on. So what are some of the things we know for sure now?
That they laid off a bunch of people.
Indeed, that's one of the big telling signs here is some of the people, including high ups in marketing and sales, have been laid off. And also, they're canceling all their convention attendance appearances. Apparently, they were going to be exhibitors over at PAX Unplugged, and now they're not going to be exhibiting there. It happened so late that it hasn't even been changed on the exhibit hall map for PAX Unplugged, but they're not attending. And, I mean, these are all big warning signs, which now there have been some articles published online. I'm going to put links to some of the written areas I've gotten a lot of my information from in the comments down below. I personally spent this morning trying to contact Mayfair Games to see if I could get a comment from them on this. A lot of their numbers I'm not getting answers from. I did get an answer from their main line over in Skokie, Illinois, which is actually not far from where I am here in the Chicago area. And I got someone to pick up, and I asked them, I told them that I was a member of the media, and I asked them if they could comment on the current situation with the layoffs and the canceled convention attendance. And they took a breath, and then they responded in a very official manner.
You've probably been hearing it a lot.
Yeah, they've probably been getting this question a lot. So they took a breath and they collected themselves, and they responded in a very professional and official manner, and they told me that they could not comment, that it was something going on that was very internal to the company, but there would be an announcement soon. And now, while that was very professional and very concise and very official, it filled me with dread. It sounds terrible.
I mean, it could be any number of things. It could be bankruptcy. It could be a larger company buying them out.
Yeah, but now, here's the thing. If it was a larger company buying them out, I think they would maintain, especially because if a company was going to buy out Mayfair is such a well-known name in the game industry that I feel like they would probably keep their name alive as a subsidiary, sort of like how Asmodee did with Fantasy Flight. They bought out Fantasy Flight, but there's still a Fantasy Flight. They kept it as a name. And when they did that, Fantasy Flight still kept making all of its convention appearances. The fact that they're canceling their convention appearances, I think is very frightening and very telling, that they may be not just being bought out, they may be going away. And even though they're a bigger company when it comes to the game industry, they're not a big company. They're a smaller company when it comes to companies. And when smaller companies declare bankruptcy, they usually disappear. They don't restructure. Bigger companies get to restructure. So this all worries me that they're just going to disappear, and the various IPs, the various better selling games are just going to eventually be picked up by other companies, but a lot of the smaller games are just going to probably fade out and disappear.
Mm-hmm. I know with bankruptcy you're not allowed to comment on anything, so and you're not supposed to have any kind of contact, even like email, electronic contact with people who you do business with. I think like customers specifically. So I don't know if they have pre-orders or anything.
Well, then that could be if that's the case, that could be a very
it's the law. It's not that they're being jerks.
I understand.
It's bankruptcy law.
Well, then that could be a big part of it. I have to say, last year when they sold off all of the Kaptain, the right to sell the Kaptain anything involved in the Catan IP in the United States to Asmodee. And then their former CEO, what was his name?
Is it Fenlon?
Fenlon. So yeah, so they sold off all the rights.
He went over to Kaptain.
He went over to Asmodee, to their
Kaptain
subsidiary
Studio.
Kaptain Studios, right? So yeah, so first off, Fenlon negotiates the sale of the Kaptain IP, which when that happened, my initial thought was, wow, they must be desperate for money because, yeah, Kaptain could be worth a lot and they probably sold it for a bundle, but to sell something that's worth that much, that probably makes up the majority of their sales, they must have been desperate for some money. And that worried me back when that happened. And then after that happened, the CEO of the company, Fenlon, goes over to run that division of Asmodee that is running Catan now for the United States, it's a subsidiary of Asmodee called Catan Studio. So now there have been some people speculating online about, was there something shady with that? He negotiated the deal with Asmodee and then he left and went to Asmodee. I think that's nothing but internet speculation myself. I think it's more likely that he saw the writing on the wall, that he knew there were problems and his job safety might not have been secure over at Mayfair, and he took the opportunity to put in his resume with Asmodee. Which, if that's what happened, then this has proved to have been a smart move, as it looks like major problems are happening and just about everybody's being laid off. So, what is this going to mean now? I mean...
well, there's going to be a lot more space in the exhibit hall at Gen Con.
That's for darn sure.
And no more Mayfair get-together.
Yeah, they were a big presence at Gen Con, and this is going to mean a big bummer, a big... change for Gen Con, because so like you said, they always had a very large presence in the Gen Con exhibit hall because Mayfair was very involved with the community and they like to have, and not all the presence was just for selling, they had a large area.
They probably had more area for demoing games than for selling games.
Yes, and that was always awesome, and everyone I always knew loved going and demoing the games, doing the ribbon program, where every time you demoed a game, you got a ribbon, and if you got all the ribbons, you got a free prize, and you got a 50% off coupon.
Although the last couple of years, the free prizes weren't all that great.
That could have also been telling, though.
Yeah.
They were declining. I wonder if they have been having financial troubles.
The last 2 years,
I
had trouble picking a free prize. I was like, oh, a lanyard, yay.
Yeah, there were some issues. So... at Gen Con, so no more giant exhibit space, which now some of the other companies that have been getting bigger, some of them may want to take up some of that larger space that Mayfair used to take up, and there's always a wait list.
It's a prime area, that entire space, so
it was very close to the front.
I don't think they're going to break it up into smaller companies. I think probably
they'll move one of the bigger ones over.
Company is going to move over.
Like maybe Simon or somebody. Because Simon's been getting bigger and bigger. Every year they're bigger than the last year. Maybe they'll move over and take the larger, more prime space. And then on top of that, there'll be more space in general in the exhibit hall, and there's always lots of smaller companies on a wait list to try to get exhibit hall space, so there's probably going to be a lot more of them coming in. But without Mayfair there's going to be a lot of demoing that used to be available that's not going to be available in the exhibit hall anymore, because nobody else does the amount of demoing that Mayfair did. And then on top of that, they always had the Mayfair get-together, which they ran on multiple nights at Gen Con, where you could come in and it was that one free, or was it?
I think it was either free or it was like $2. It wasn't a lot of money.
So it was very affordable. You'd come in, you could play lots of games. The games you played, you could get ribbons for the ribbon program, and that was always a big event for us. That was one of our favorite events we did every year.
We always found at least one game that we wanted to go back to the Mayfair booth and buy.
Yeah. And the thing is, that's definitely some talk about what's going to change for Gen Con, but just in general, Mayfair is a company.
So much more free time.
Yeah, we're going to have to figure out more events to do. Now, but for just as a game company, Mayfair's been around for a very long time. They've always been a company that has spent a lot of time publishing European games over here. Now, lately, that sort of thing has been taken up by other companies as well. There's a lot of other companies that have started doing that, and some of the European games have started publishing their own games over here. But in addition, Mayfair has been a company that has always taken risks on interesting new games, and it makes me very sad that a company like that, whether you liked all their games or not, because everybody puts out some games that you like and some games that you don't like. They were a company that took risks and put out interesting new ideas. And I'm going to miss them in the game industry.
I'm going to miss their terrible box art.
All right, so some of their production may not have been up to snuff, but if they are disappearing, if they're going out of business, you've liked a lot of their games.
Yes, I have. I've also disliked a lot of their games.
It's true.
But the one thing that they were always consistent in was the terrible box art. It was just its own little little thing.
Well, but I mean, their games were always affordable.
Yes.
They were also very well known for having a lot of chunky wooden pieces, which were always very nice. And yeah, like I said, whether you liked the games or not, they always put out a lot of games, and they always took risks on new styles of games. And I hope they're not going out of business, but it doesn't look good. So we're gonna stay tuned. When they do eventually make their announcements so we can tell you more, we are going to report on it here at the Board Game Captain. So if you have any comments or questions or concerns on this video, if you have any more information about what's going on over at Mayfair, feel free to comment in the comments down below. And if you liked hearing this bit of news about Mayfair and you'd like us to do more news updates like this in the future, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the Board Game Captain. That's Captain spelled with a K on YouTube. And hit that little bell icon so you get notifications every time I upload a new video. And until next time, game on.